Hi, it's Tony Robbins again. Listen, welcome to our electronic course, our e-course on how to get geometric growth in your business. Really how to be able to thrive, not just survive, no matter what the times are, including really turbulent economic times. So what do we want to start out this session? Well, we might start out with seeing what causes most businesses to fail. Because even though we want to succeed, you got to know what to avoid, as well as then what would you have to do to make your business grow geometric. And the biggest reasons businesses fail, and by the way, the number is 96% of businesses fail over a 10-year period of time. 4% make it. Now I say make it, that doesn't mean they're even profitable. It means they're still in business. And after 10 years, by the way, does that mean it's free sailing? Well, in the world we're in today, with changing economies, changing technology, changing competition, you know, there are companies like Lehman Brothers that, you know, combined revenues would be $1 trillion over a decade or so. They're gone, as we all know. So what is the biggest mistake we make? Well, there are many. But if you look first to see what business is, you'd say, what really makes someone succeed in business? You go to somebody like Peter Drucker, probably one of the most brilliant business minds of the last century. And everybody agrees, the two things that business is really all about that Peter said way back when is it's all about innovation and marketing. What do those words mean? Innovation means finding a better way to meet your client's needs than anybody else does. That's the only way to become wealthy and sustain it. Anybody can make money, but if you're going to be successful in business and sustain that success over years and over decades and really build a brand, something you're proud of, something that will give you the rewards you deserve, then you have to find a way to add more value to other people's lives than anybody else is doing. That comes from constantly innovating, finding a better way to deliver. But you can have the most innovative product and service, and I'm sure you've seen this in your own business life at times. Maybe you've seen somebody else and you know you have a better product or you have a better service, and yet somebody else is kicking your butt. Why is that? Because they're doing better on the marketing side. Because unfortunately, the best product doesn't always win. Is McDonald's the best hamburger in the world? I doubt it. I'm like hurting anybody's feelings on that one. But what happens is people think if I have just the best product, that's enough. We really have to be the best marketers today as well. And the problem with that is, if you look at a business, let's say you go out to a business and you see a business getting started, and it's a restaurant, a hamburger stand, and you come back to that same restaurant 15 years later, and two guys were starting at the same time. You saw both their chains. 15 years later, you come back, and one guy still got that one hamburger store, one restaurant, he serves a great burger, and the other one's got 35 chains, 35 different venues, and he sold the business for X millions of dollars, or tens or hundreds of millions of dollars. What was the difference? Was it the quality of the burger? I would say to you the difference as an entrepreneur, where your business grows is controlled by two things. Number one is your psychology, and number two is your skills. Because the psychology of someone who's just trying to make the best burger, and trust me, I've got that artist in me, I want to make the best of anything, but I also have to know how to market it or I know my ideas will just die on my lips. Does that make sense? The greatest products don't just win by themselves. And so the guy that built 15, he really developed a different psychology. He didn't just say, I want to build what I enjoy. He kept saying, what does the marketplace need? Who is my customer? Who is really my customer? What's the best offer? What would make this irresistible? What business am I really in? Am I in the hamburger business? Am I in the fast food business? Am I in the convenience business? Am I the experience business? And different fast food chains or people that have grown have picked different elements of that through time to succeed. They didn't just sell burgers. So the point of the matter is you and I don't want to make the mistake, and here's the biggest mistake people make. We fall in love with our product or our service and not with our client, or not with an ideal client. See, when you fall in love with your product or service, it worked for centuries. Literally, you could have a product and sell it forever. Heck, 20, 25, 30 years ago, 20 years ago, even when Sony was around, Sony was the dominant focus, not Apple. And Sony owned the tech business, didn't they? They're always coming out with their new camera, their new iPhone and so forth. iPhone, what am I suggesting? Their new Walkman. It's hard to even say that it's old. I'm not ancient enough to remember that, I hope. But I am. I remember the Walkman. But they came out with a product, and it was an innovation. Nobody wanted small speakers. Nobody wanted small things. Everything was bigger speakers, bigger sound. And Marita of Sony comes up with this idea of a Walkman, portable music you could take anywhere. Some of us oldest enough to remember that you didn't used to carry around with you 100,000 songs in your pocket. If you were going to go for a run, you had to take this big junky thing and have these giant ear mucks on your head, and you had to really like that one album you took. You better like that guy's music, because those 8 songs are all you had to do to run with. And oh, by the way, you had to rewind it to hear what you wanted to hear next. It's a different world today. My point is, Sony was able to do that Walkman over 20 years. Today, do you know what the product cycle is, the life cycle on an average product today? Well, in the technology business, it's about 6 months. Some places like the app business, it's a month. Some people expect it to be a few weeks before something is innovated and the product is improving, or they leave and go somewhere else. So it's not the same world you and I lived in. Today, we can't fall in love with our products and services. We've got to fall in love with our clients and figure out every way we could possibly figure out to meet their needs, to anticipate what do they want, what do they need, what do they not even know they need, that if I could deliver that, I'd turn them not in just a satisfied customer, but into a raving fan. Somebody that would tell everybody about my product or service, or tell everybody about my company. When you create that kind of an impact, you'll start to build a brand. And what's beautiful about that is during turbulent economic times, big companies become small, and small companies can become big very quickly. And the failure to adapt to this, to say our products and services have to be changing constantly instead of here's my product and I love it and you should too, and I'm going to keep marketing it to you. Those that fail to adapt don't anticipate what's coming. And here's what you and I have to anticipate. If you're going to be successful, if you're going to be in the 4% that succeed, or maybe the 1/10 of 1% that really succeed, meaning they're very profitable and they succeed long term, if you're going to be in that success category, then you and I have to say, what can we anticipate is coming? And let's deal with the problem before it gets here so we win. Are you with me? So one of those things is obvious. It's competition. How many people have failed to anticipate the competition? I mean, a little company like Yahoo. If I asked you, in the mass majority of Americans or people around the world, what's the first company you think of when you're searching online? We all know 90% plus the people say Google. In fact, it's Google it now, right? People treat it as an action, as a verb. On the other hand, Yahoo was the dominant force. They were there first. But they didn't see the anticipation of somebody might be coming, and they didn't innovate. They just fell in love with the product the way it was. They just felt like they had happy customers, and they stayed with those guys. And now Yahoo, by comparison to Google, is a joke. And nobody says Yahoo it. I mean, maybe on another planet, but I don't think it happens most of the place here. It's failure to anticipate competition. IBM with Microsoft, right? We could go through example after example. You've got to anticipate who is your competition so you can say, okay, if they're coming, how am I going to meet my customers better than they would? Even if they're bigger, stronger, there's a niche here for me. There's something I can do that could add more value. Because I'm smaller, I'm faster, I can change quicker, I can get the lead on the situation. Another thing you have to prepare for that can create a crisis in your business if you don't anticipate it is change in technology. I mean, we all know the bell curve of, when something is changing, and then all of a sudden we get that geometric change. Well, right now, human technology is just at the base of the curve where you're going to see giant jumps where in the next 5 or 6 years, things you would consider magic are going to become part of your daily life. If I pull out your iPhone right now and I asked you, who would have thought 5, 6 years ago, people would be standing in line for a phone? It'd be a joke. What are you kidding me? But today, that phone has combined all kinds of things we don't have to carry anymore. We don't have to need a GPS. You don't need to be able to carry around your telephone and a camera and your GPS and all the other apps and things that we have now. They're all part of that device we call a phone for some reason, probably just because that's what we used to call it. It's not a phone anymore. In fact, most people don't even make phone calls for the most part. They're texting, they're emailing, they're leaving audio messages. It's a different world that we live in today. So my point is, if you and I are going to keep up, if you and I are going to succeed, we got to anticipate that competition's coming. I mean, look at the book business. I create books, obviously, and you look around at that industry, it's been changed overnight, right? Because nobody anticipated electronic books were going to come and they'd have such distribution that people would start using them en masse and downloading at that speed. And it's really hurt the book businesses that just didn't anticipate. Some of them kept putting it off, saying, oh, it won't matter. Or you look at the idea of renting movies, quote unquote. I mean, what happened to Blockbuster? Because they failed to anticipate competition. They saw this little company called Netflix. They had a chance to buy Netflix for $50 million when their company was worth billions. They could have bought it for the price of a fingernail of their corporate till. And what did they do? They passed it up, and just a few years later on, all of a sudden this company called Netflix had done 1 billion rentals, and they still didn't buy it, and they had all the resources. And they waited too long saying, this is being overvalued, we're Blockbuster, we're the dominant force, we have these customers, they love us, we are the brand, we love our product, we love our system, it's not going to go away, at least not soon, till it's gone. How fast? Bankrupt. Company worth billions, worth nothing. Company worth seemingly nothing, Netflix, worth billions. Now, they've made some of their own mistakes, but that's part of another video. I'll talk about that right now. But the point of the matter is, you can never fall in love with your product or service, fall in love with your clients, and figure out everything about them you could possibly know so you can meet their needs better than anyone else on earth, and they will become your raving fan. Their raving fans will use social media, they'll tell everybody about you, and there's no amount of advertising or marketing that can match the word of mouth when you've delivered for people at a level beyond what they've imagined. So that's my invitation to you. You've got to really know, what is it that your X factor is? What is it you're here to deliver? What's going to be the added value that you're going to do better than anybody else? And how can you anticipate what's coming? I'll tell you another thing you have to anticipate: the changes in the economy. I mean, technology can change. iTunes came along and they saw how they could use technology, and Steve Jobs, once again, what did he do? He upended an entire industry, the music industry. And it was counterintuitive because people were stealing music. How in the heck are you going to get people to buy music when they're able to get it for free? Steve came up with convenience and quality. I'm going to give them the best quality music, not the stuff that's random, and I'm going to make it so cheap and so convenient that they'll do it en masse. And the rest is history, the billions and billions of downloads. And today, Apple's the largest music store in the world. A music store in those days might have 200,000, different songs available. Now there's something like 50 million that are available, individual songs. Maybe it's more at this stage. It's ridiculous. And it's all available because there's a change in technology, competition, and a little bit in the culture or the economy. In 2008, listen, I have a dozen companies around the world in a variety of industries. In the hospitality industry, I have the #1 resort in Fiji, number 1 to 10 in the top, rated in the top spa in the South Pacific, of all South Pacific islands, all countries down there. Really proud of what I built. But hospitality is very different than the educational business, than the practice management business for doctors, which I'm in, than the television business that I'm in. There's so many different industries and elements, and all of them in 2008 got hit simultaneously because nobody anticipated what was going to happen to the economy. Now, do you and I really believe that 2008 is over, that it's all free sailing? If I asked you right now, is your belief that everything's positive and up from here without any stormy days? I can't imagine if you're a business owner, you'd be so naive. You and I both know all they did was kick the can down line. The government right now is printing $85 billion a month. Not printing, it's too expensive. They're just adding zeros to the bank accounts of commercial banks. Those banks aren't loaning most of that money, so we're not getting hit with a lot of inflation yet. But $85 billion a month. All this has to be paid back. We have $16 billion in debt. Maybe $100 billion, excuse me, I said billion, trillion, I'm sorry, big difference, right? $16 trillion in debt in the US, over $100 trillion in unfunded liabilities, Medicare and Medicaid and Social Security. These numbers are just unbelievable. So to think that we've now, just because we're feeling good and because the economy is being stimulated, someone's giving crack to the economy, they're giving the economy drugs and things are going well, that it's always going to go well? It's not. You say, Tony, I came here to be inspired. Listen, I'm not here to inspire you. I'm going to tell you the truth so you and I can take advantage. Here's what I can tell you. In the worst times in business history is your greatest opportunity if you manage your psychology. If you take that 80% of success, that mental, emotional muscle in you, and you find a way to succeed. Because if you look at the Fortune 1000 around the world, and you see when did they come into business and get started, you'll discover something interesting. More than 60% started in a recession or a depression. Not in good times. And I don't care whether it's Microsoft or Apple or Disney in a depression or Chevron in a depression. The companies that do well during these times, that find their niche and grow, you end up dominating for decades if you really add value. So it's not that it's a bad time. I'm just suggesting to you that the economy is going to change. And when it does, here's what you got to do. And this is what this lesson's about at its core. You got to know the answers to a couple questions. You got to know what question is, what business am I in? And maybe, what business am I really in? The way you answer what business you're in to yourself and to other people will determine whether they want to engage with you or not. We'll start with those two questions. What business are you in? What business are you really in? I'll give you a simplistic example. I was just in Australia and I was doing a program. I've done a couple programs in a row down there, but one of the programs I did a little less than a year ago was a business program called Business Mastery. And there was a woman there that was really struggling with her business, and she was dedicated and she was very frustrated because she spent tremendous time, energy, and money, but she couldn't get enough, she couldn't hit that tipping point where the business was really succeeding. And so I went around the room and I explained to everyone that Apple Computers, which is not called Apple Computers anymore, it's called Apple for a reason, did something strategic at a key stage in 1997, about 16 years ago, when the company was near bankruptcy, to become one of the most successful companies in the world. And one of the things they did is they decided what business they're in was computers. Steve Jobs came back and he said, what business are we in? We're starting brainstorming. I know this because I've got some dear friends that were dear friends with Steve and know his entire history and what he lived through. Mark Benioff being one of those who started Salesforce.com right out of one of these seminars, left Oracle, started this business, and over the last 14 years built it to $4 billion a year in sales. So he's telling me some of the stories. Mark gave Steve Jobs the term the App Store. He owned it, and Steve wanted it, and he just gave it to him as a gift. You can imagine the value of that. But he was telling me that in those early days, heard from several sources, they were saying, what business we're in? We're in the business of computers. Well, how are we going to win that competition in computers when 97.5% of all computers in the United States are run by something called Microsoft? And he said, no matter how good our product is, they beat us in the marketing for the masses. They are embedded. They are entrenched. And that's one of the reasons why we're under bankruptcy. Only one, but one of them. What business do we really need to be in? That's an interesting question. And the question that they began to come up with is we need to be in the business, and they came up with many terms, but these are a few of them they started out with, was one of those, we need to be connecting people to their passions. Because what people are passionate about, they'll spend money on, they'll spend time in, they share with other people. And what are people passionate about? They're passionate about their music, they're passionate about pictures, they're passionate about what they believe, they're passionate about communicating. And they started brainstorming all these elements. And as they did, they began to make some shifts in this direction of the company. Ultimately, they decided what business they needed to be in. And that shift is what made them the richest company in the world. And what they decided what business they needed to be in was all the above. If you look at Apple today, they get rid of the name Apple Computers. They're just called Apple because Apple now is a connector of passions. They build simple, cool technology that connects people to everything that they love. Whether it be their music, where they created a brand new industry. You know, they did it initially with the hard device, the iPod, but then they began to take it another level when they began to create the iTunes store and be able to actually distribute the music itself and make an irresistible offer, which is the last thing we'll talk about in this brief little session. And by the way, I understand that on these types of short e-courses, you should go 2 or 3 minutes, but I got to give you more value than that. I want to make sure that if I never see you again, there's some things here you can immediately use, and I got an assignment for you here at the end, so stay with me. So you see the difference in Apple? If you look at Apple today, Apple's got business now of $156 billion a year. That's their net sales. What business are they really in? Are they in the computer business? 14.7% is computers. 85% of their business is not computers. How important was it to answer that question? What business am I in? What business am I really in? What business do I need to be in? Pretty damn critical. Most businesses fail because they fall in love with what the business they think they're in is, rather than saying, what business am I really in, what business do I need to be in, and anticipating how to meet their needs of their customer better. Today, half of that $156 billion, over $80 billion of Apple, 51% of their revenues, is a phone company. It's a phone. Think about it. This is a business that would not be the business it is. It stayed into where the computer business. You create a box that you live in. Instead, what you got to do is connect out to your ideal customer and meet their needs and let that drive your business. That'll revolutionize your business, whether you're a person of one trying to build something or an army of 50,000. Listen, I have the chance and the privilege of working with multi-billion-dollar companies, thousands and tens of thousands of employees, and mom and pops, you know, a medical doctor, a dentist, a chiropractor with an army of 3 or 4, and we help them double their business in 6 months. Or we take big companies like Homex is one of my favorite examples because to make a $700 million difference in a company is a pretty big jump that they give us credit for. And that came because of understanding how to change who are they meeting the needs? How are they going to meet the needs of their customer? What are the needs of those customers going forward? In their case, their customers, people in Mexico buying new homes. It's how do you truly figure out what business you're in and what business you need to be in? I'll give you some example, maybe it's not so high level like Apple, but it's probably one of the best examples because the largest and most successful company in the world. But as I started to say, in Australia, I'm working with this woman, come back to her, and she's very frustrated, she's dedicated, she cares. What's her problem? She's so hooked into what her business is because it meets her needs. So I ask her, what business are you in? And she says to me, I'm in an ecological, and I'm not going to give it exactly as she did it because it was so convoluted. She said, I'm in the ecological marketing, letterbox marketing business. The ecological letterbox marketing business. I'm totally confused. I said, how many people are interested in this business? And we had a room there of about 800 people. Nobody raises their hand. I said, that's a clue that whatever you think your business is, first of all, it may inspire you, but it's not making people want to do business with you. And it doesn't seem to be drawing a large market, at least in the way you're languaging it. So tell me more, what do you do in this business? And she goes, well, I use ecological materials, and I use those materials and I help people create marketing devices made out of ecological materials to help, build their business. I said, well, there's a market for that. But I said, you're really taking your passion and trying to make everybody else have it. There's nothing wrong with that, but it's not a good business. I said, most businesses, they like the idea it's ecological, but it's not the first thing. Tell me an example of the best thing you've done for a company. Give me one of your clients that you really helped, that you're proud of helping. What did you do? And so she described this little restaurant. It was an Oriental restaurant. She said Asian restaurant. And she said in this Asian restaurant, they were having trouble struggling. They're spending money on ads every week in local papers and I guess the regional paper. And they weren't able to fill their place. They might have 20% of the people showing up, 80% of the place is empty most nights out of the week. And I said, what'd you do? She said, I came in and I said, what I really got to do with you is, let's create an offer that's irresistible. Let's create some really cool chopsticks that are really elegant and beautiful and make them out of ecological materials. And she said, and on them we'll inscribe who you are with like a little phrase or a little quote or something. And then we'll put with it with a beautiful menu. And then we'll mail that to the surrounding area, to the ideal market, the country clubs, the people that have plenty of money to be able to spend, including your sake and the other things that you sell. And let's offer them to come in as your guest for a meal, and one person comes for free as your guest if another person comes with them, a couple. And she said it worked gangbusters. She said it was unbelievable. And but they had to bring their chopsticks in to redeem it. That was it. And she said people brought in their chopsticks and it became this kind of code of honor, and people were so grateful for this meal and the food was so good. Once they got a taste, they kept coming back. And she said they don't advertise anymore. They just do this invitation once a year and it fills the place. And it costs them about 1/10 of the price they used to spend for advertising. And it's just more unique and the place is full. After I listened to her, I said, my gosh, I said, you don't know what business you're in. I said, if you ask me, this is the wrong way of describing it, but I'd say you're in the business of helping businesses make more money. I said, how many of you in this room are interested in hearing somebody who can make your business more money immediately? And you got 95% of people raising their hand. So to move from what business you're in to what business you're really in will help you communicate it better in all of your marketing, but it'll also help you understand what your core business is. If she keeps thinking my job is to help them make more money, and I love ecological items, so I'm gonna slip that in because it meets my needs, nothing wrong with that, an extra benefit. But if she's trying to push ecology on everyone, and letterbox marketing, by the way, is Australian for mailing direct mail to your letterbox, to the mailbox at your home. So she took this piece in, it's been a little less than a year, and she's grown her business about 60%, and the biggest thing is she's got all these focus now, resources on how do I make these people more money? That's the whole component. How do I bring them more customers? How do I bring them more clients? Just that little focus change can change your business. But the big one is, what business do I need to be in? So I'll give you another simplistic example. Relatively small business I did this with initially, and then I extrapolated the idea to a larger business. Gentleman gets up and he's in the prescription eyeglass business. And he says to me, I'm in the prescription eyeglass business. I said, what business are you really in? He goes, well, I'm in the business of helping people with their eyesight. I said, well, the only problem with those descriptions are, how many competitors do you think you have? I mean, how many optometrists are there? It's a worthy goal of helping people with their eyesight. It's a beautiful goal. I'm totally supportive of it, but it can't be enough as your marketing, or there's no way to differentiate yourself. Everything is about, what is your X factor? What is it you do better for other people than anybody else does? And you've got to communicate that, not just verbally, in any marketing materials that you use, so that you stand apart from everybody else in the marketplace. And he goes, well, I'm a better doctor. I do a better job. I said, can I offer you a possibility? Are you struggling right now? He goes, well, we're doing okay. I said, that means you're struggling because nobody wants okay. We all want more. Am I right? And he said, yeah. I said, here's what I would do if I were you. Why don't you get in the fashion business? There's a lot more margin in the fashion business. He goes, how could I do that? I said, why don't you hire someone whose total expertise is fitting glasses in a way that most complements the person's face? And why don't you get somebody that is either world-renowned, or they could do it with a couple places. Maybe you can get someone to license their name to do it. Maybe there's somebody who's an expert, and you market in all your marketing. Say, anyone can help you with their eyes, and we'll do the finest job of making sure we get you glasses that are perfectly fit for you. But also, we want to make sure you look beautiful. We want to make sure you look handsome. We want to make sure that the look is perfect for your facial structure. That's what we do differently. When you come in, we give you this fashion, and I'm giving you the absolute wrong word I said to the guy. You come up with the right word, but we're going to give you this orientation so that whatever glasses you get, you actually are thrilled that not only you have better eyesight, but your overall look is something that you enjoy and produces more confidence and joy in your life. Well, sure enough, explosion in his business, starts advertising this, he has a differentiating factor. Extrapolating from that, just recently, when I was in Australia, and thinking of Australia right now, I'm kind of in state about Australia because I just got back, but I was with a gentleman from China, has a really large optical company, and they make sunglasses and glasses from all around the world. And he sells to huge chains. So he's, everybody's gone to China. He's reaped the reward of that for a long time. And basically, he's kind of the middleman. So he goes in there, he sells to these giant retail chains. Well, there's been consolidation in these giant chains around the world. Bigger companies buying big companies, integrating them within it, and they're all trying to squeeze cost. And so they look at him as maybe a middleman. He's just, like most businesses, he starts to become a commodity. And he said, I'm really frustrated because my business is shrinking. I'm working harder than ever. They're pushing me on price. And he goes, I don't have, there's only so many customers I can sell to. And I said, here's the thing you gotta do, that's your psychology. You can never accept a limitation. That's all the customers you can sell to. How many people need sunglasses? And he goes, well, what do you mean? I said, how many? He goes, well, billions. I said, that's not a sunglass problem. I said, the problem is you're only selling to these sources and you become a commodity. What business are you in? He goes, well, I sell discount sunglasses. I said, maybe you need to get in the fashion business. Maybe you need to get into a business where you partner with somebody. And so sure enough, he decides Jay-Z is his target. If I get Jay-Z here to do this with me and give me a line of glasses I design, I can still sell them. I can still build them at the lowest cost, but I'm gonna have a big margin. And now I can go to these big chains and they can't all get Jay-Z. They can get glasses, but they can't get all Jay-Z. That's the added value. So in summary, here's what I'm saying to you. If you're gonna succeed and be the 1% of 1%, whatever the real number is, I mean, I'll give you an idea, 5% of businesses in America, 5% do $1 million or more. Gross, that's not net profitability. It's crazy. Only 5%. The number of businesses that do 5 million or above, 0.4%. That's gross. The number of businesses that do 10 million in gross sales or above is 0.00006, or to give you an idea, 6 out of 100,000 businesses will even do 10 million in gross revenue. I know it's hard to believe when we see the Googles and the Apples, but that's real business. If you're gonna be one of those people that's the 0.000 whatever that's unbelievably profitable and growing, then you gotta know what business are you in. That's gonna be your assignment when we shut this little video off here, if you haven't already shut me off and I'm just talking to myself in the middle of space, right? So what business are you in? And then see if you can take a few rights at what business are you really in. Instead of writing the process like I'm in the technology business, or I'm a lawyer, or I'm a doctor, or whatever it is, I'm in the direct marketing business, maybe describe the benefits of what you do. So for example, a gentleman comes to me and says, I'm in the medical device businesses. And that state and that mindset shows a psychology that is gonna be the chokehold on the growth of that business. So I said to him, tell me why you got in this business. And he starts telling me the story, and long story short, he got into, his mother was dying, and somebody came along with this medical device that saved her life, turned her around, got her out of the hospital, and as a result of that, she was able to have him as a child, meaning it was affecting her female organs. And he goes, I'm really in the business of helping patients spend less time in the hospital. I'm in the business of helping doctors to change lives. I'm in the business of, and he went through 20 iterations of this till he came out with this core thing that just lit him up like a Christmas tree. And now he's out there charging on the world with a totally different place than I'm in the medical device business. And when he talks to somebody about it, or he markets it, he's got a message to share that separates him from everybody else that sells a bunch of devices. Does it make sense? So it might feel weird at the first step to be starting out with this, but if success is about innovation and marketing, then you gotta decide who's my customer, who's my ideal customer, and what do they need? What business am I in? What business do I need to be in? What business am I really in? What business do I need to be in? Those are the first 3 questions. If you wanna go for bonuses, because I've gone over my time, I'm sure, I give you this. Who's my customer today? Who would be my ideal customer? See, in 2008, I know a lot of companies, really successful companies, where people were just not spending money, but someone's spending money still. And they decided, who's my ideal customer? And they went after that customer, and it can change your entire business. Because they have the money or the time or the resources to say yes, if you find a way to meet their needs and add more value than anybody else ever dreamed of. So who's your customer? Who's your customer need to be? Over the next 3 to 5 years, who should your customer become? And I'll throw one more in for you. And that is, if you want to know how to change your business the fastest, after all this, fastest way is create a new offer. Create an irresistible offer. See, I always tell people, new offer, new life. New offer, new business. I'm old enough to remember a company you're probably too young to remember, being ancient as I am. When I was a kid, they used to have this thing called the Columbia House Music Club. And they used to send this thing around and advertise in magazines and in the mail. And we used to say you could get 10 of these, in those days, cassettes or albums. You get 10 of these for 99 cents. And once you signed up, of course, then you got a new album every month at the normal retail rate. They built $1 billion company off that simple offer by making an offer that seemed irresistible. In some cases, they did it to like a penny for 10 pieces of music or 10 albums. But they created an offer that made people want to participate with them. Who else did that? iTunes. Same thing, 99 cents, irresistible offer. That offer changed the music business. Quality, convenience, 24/7, 365 access, and 99 cents, I'm in. It just pushes people beyond their threshold. They just go, I gotta have this. You can take a look at a company like Groupon. Groupon is a $2 billion business, and what is it? It's just a bunch of irresistible offers. Every day they come up with another offer. It's not even their products, right? The company's valued at what now? $6-8 billion, doing $2 billion a year, $1 to $2 billion a year, and all it is irresistible offers. If you want one final assignment, I may never say you again, that'd change your entire business, what would make your offer irresistible? Is it getting so much at once? Is it a guarantee? Is it a reverse risk that if you don't love it, here's what I'll do for you? I mean, I have one in my business mastery program. If you decide to ever have us work and be your client and vice versa, really serve you as a client, reach out to us and get yourself enrolled. But if you want to, I'll tell you this, my promise to people is day one of a 4-day program. If that program, that first day, doesn't give you more than $1 million worth of value on day one, and it's totally in your view, saving $1 million or making $1 million minimum, you get to take the whole day, everything you learn for free. We give all your money on the spot. Nobody leaves. Why? Because they get so much more the first day, and they want day 2, 3, 4. It's an irresistible offer. People go, I don't have the time, I don't have the money. Go, if that guy's willing to let me take everything he's got for a full day, I'm willing to take a look because I got nothing to lose. It's an irresistible offer. What would make yours irresistible? What's your Columbia House? What's your Groupon? What's your 99 cents? That once you get people close to you and you really match their needs and meet their needs and exceed their needs, that they'll not be a customer anymore, they'll be a client for you. That's why I'm doing this series. Our hope is to trigger you, add value to you, hopefully get your business to succeed even more. And as a result of that, have you get a sense of what we're really about and get a chance to serve you as a client at an event or some other service if we can. But regardless of what comes out of this, we're going to add the value to you, knowing that if you grow your business, that'll be something we're proud of regardless. So those are the assignments. You'll see it written down below so you don't forget. What business are you in? What business are you really in? And make it about what you really give people, the benefit instead of the process. What business might you need to be in? Who's your customer? Who does your customer need to be? What's an irresistible offer that could just transform your business by bringing you a ton of business and people saying, okay, I'm willing to step up if you step up with me and make me this unique offer. I hope this is valuable. If it is, tune in for our next session. I don't know how they're being sent to you, but whatever sequence they are, but I know this is the first one, and I hope that I hope you get some value out of this and you really think and act. If you just turn this off and you don't take any time to think this through, it'll be stimulating to you, but it won't give you long-term value. So I'd really encourage you, turn me off now and write down the answers to these questions and capture it and come back to it. And if you have a staff, whether it's 3 or 30,000, this might be an interesting question to ask them as well. Remember the power of Apple. What happens when you start to decide what business you're in versus what business you need to be in? You make that shift, you can change everything, and you'll be one of those people that has geometric growth in your business. And that's true. I hope someday we'll meet each other and you'll come up and share me the story of how you've shifted your business and the rewards you've created. So thanks for letting me visit with you. Hope to see you in the next session. Till then, live strong, live with passion, and love your business.